Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal's space program, where last episode we tried to push our exploration contracts towards Duna. Sadly, we haven't gotten there yet. However, I was thinking about this, and we could actually do this pretty quickly. Kind of. So what we'd end up wanting to do, if we accepted this, which I'm going to, if we wanted to do that, we could hop into the VAB here, and we could use the vehicle that we used to orbit Eve, but we'd have to launch 2 of them. So the question is, how's that going to do in terms of cash? So if we did the Eve flyby craft, I believe, is the one at this point. Yes, that looks correct. So we'd launch this one, and one of them would be launched unmanned, and the other would be launched manned. So you can see the cost of this. That's not too bad, in theory. I'd really like to be done with Eve. So let's just do it, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a communitron on this, and I'm just going to plop it in right about... let's put it in over here. It's a little awkward, and we don't need the science components here, but... well, some of them are going to come back. We need them... we don't need them. So let's get rid of the magnetometer here. There's some awkward portions here. So we need to grab the heat shield here and get rid of the service bay. That's going to save us a decent amount. And then all of these hex cans up here, they can be moved to be up here instead. So something along the lines-ish of this. This is not particularly well evenly spaced, but that's fine for now. So something along the lines of that, and then we would get rid of the Science Junior. We should not really need that. We've got the science that we're going to get from this. So then this would come in here, and then I would change these struts to instead be connected more like this. Like that. So that's going to save us some cost, but the more important thing that's going to save us here is, well, cost. But we don't need to bring them back either. So at this point, that's going to be much easier to bring back. And the amount that we're going to bring back is about 12,000 worth of this, only once. So we need to keep in mind that one of these is not coming back. One of them is going to crash into Eve, or land on Eve, something like that. So this first one that we launch is going to launch unmanned. And otherwise, this should be good to go. I think we're pretty much ready to do this. We don't need to do significant other modifications. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's put this out on the pad. It has no remote-controlled or manned command modules. Okay, so that is indeed a problem. We should pop off the experiment storage unit here, and we should then just put in a, like, Probodobodine Octo 2 or, like, a remote guidance unit. I'll do a remote guidance unit. That's fine. And then we'll have a remote guidance unit for the other as well. So these are going to be identical with the exception that this one will be uncrewed and the next one will be crewed, is going to be the idea here. So let's save this, put this out on the pad, and let's get this out to Eve nice and quick. So this is also going to mean that we're going to have a lot more life support. Life support is not going to be a concern. We only need to have like half the life support. So that's absolutely fine. And one of them is going to be crashed into Eve when we're done with it. So that's going to be a thing as well. So we'll take this to surface up and let's launch this thing. Excellent. So up we go here. Should be no real problem. This is all unsimulated launches, by the way, at this point. Staging is maybe a little bit broken. I probably should have double-checked that. Looks like the only real problem is where these parachutes are. And that is going to just end up being something kind of like this. And then we'd need this guy to go here, and this would go here. Okay. What's our current apoapsis? 10 kilometers. Let's take this over to orbital program. So that's looking good for now. We're just going to punch our way up through the atmosphere here. We're just going to chill at orbital prograde until such a time as our SRBs wear off, and then we'll go over to horizontal velocity up, is the way that I'm currently thinking about this. So the SRBs are going to be here for a while. We just need to get our movement be relatively aligned with the air pressure here, which it currently only somewhat is. So that's going to be the danger here, is that these end up crashing into our tanks, but I think we're plenty aligned with the air pressure at this point, so that looks good. Farewell, SRBs. Okay. Turning down this gimbal limit, and we're going to take this to horizontal velocity up at this point. We can see our apoapsis is plenty high. I'm going to turn our gimbal limit back up as we turn here, but we're going to have some significant wiggling, it would appear. That's okay. We can deal with that. This would be fixed probably by running a strut from here to here, for the record. So we're just going to burn here until an apoapsis of a lot. I'm not sure exactly how much, but probably a lot. For our second vehicle, I will run those struts. So yeah, I'm thinking like 250 on the apoapsis. We're pretty high up as it is. We should extend our solar panels because we don't have any crew here. If we run out of battery, it is bad. Oh, and I just realized we're going to have very, very minimal amounts of battery. Okay, so we need to stage that. There we go. It's only mildly awkward. And our apoapsis is plenty high at this point. So let's go ahead and take this on up. And yeah, running out of battery is going to be a problem. So we're going to have to keep our orbits pretty high. This is fine for the moment. So more battery would be useful for sure. What is our overall battery amount? Electric charge, actually 410. That's significantly higher battery charge than I thought. Where do we have a battery on this thing? So the electric charge in the re-entry module is 400. Fascinating. That's fine then. I'm not concerned about it in that case. So that's absolutely a-okay, and we're just going to get aligned for this burn. There we go. And let's warp on forward. Bringing ourselves up to the apoapsis here. And we'll commence this burn shortly. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and technically that's slightly late, but it's fine. So I've not gimbal limited this boodle. We still have a bit of joint weakness here, but it's not too bad now that our gimbal is here instead of like way back here. It's much better. So that's absolutely fine. I'm not concerned about Delta V for this, for the record. We're not planning on docking these, so that's... Yeah, we just need to orbital spacewalk, transfer crew, and rendezvous the vessels. We don't need to dock. So we're not going to be transferring any fuel over. Although we could. We definitely could. But I'm not going to. We know we have enough fuel for this. It's not a concern. So we have a few more seconds on this burn. I'm going to physics warp it a bit. That's a little spooky looking, but it's fine. Okay, 40 seconds. Or actually 40 meters per second. It's actually more like 2 seconds. Okay, this is good enough. It doesn't really matter. So at this point, what we need to do is head back to the Space Center, and let's get another one of these up into orbit. This one is going to have crew in it. So we're going to need to actually be running the life support, and that'll be absolutely fine. And then we'll take these off to Eve. We'll try to do the two things simultaneously, so we're only warping once. That's the idea anyway. Simultaneously-ish. As simultaneously as we can. So let's hop into the VAB here, and let's get another one of these going. Yep, this is perfect. And as far as crew goes, we can have anybody, really. Jeb and Bill is fine, but we should probably bring people who are less experienced. We can bring Jessely, and we can bring... Who's our least experienced pilot? That would be Valentino. Okay, so that looks absolutely fine for now, and let's launch this guy. I didn't extend the antenna on the drone ship. We should do that before we do our next burn. That's fine. I'll just try to remember to do that. So we'll get loaded in here as soon as the game starts responding again. It'll get there. There we go. And we'll put ourselves into surface up, throttle up, and off we go. Yes, I did not actually do the strutting here. It's not strictly speaking necessary, so it's fine. We're just going to go straight up here until we hit an apoapsis of about 10 kilometers, and then we'll go to orbital prograde, and that'll be absolutely fine. So once again, off into space we go. Apoapsis of 7, 8, 9, and 10. So over to prograde. Excellent. And we'll just get our velocity updated here. Eventually. And this gimbal limit is definitely going to be a concern. We're in a slightly weird inclination in the other vehicle, but that's fine. We'll just make our inclination change. We have a lot less weight on this than we had previously, so we're going to have even more excess fuel than we had on the previous flights of this vehicle. And yeah, this is going to be a bit messed up here, but to be honest, I don't expect us to get to that here. So that should be okay. SRBs are going to be falling off very shortly. There we go, we're clear on the SRBs. Gimbal limit down to 20 here. And let's put ourselves onto horizontal velocity up. And we don't have to get quite as high up as we did previously. The last one was up over 300. It's fine to get this a little lower. We'll see where we end up wanting to be. Just into an orbit is good enough. So this is absolutely okay for now. We'll be extending out our photovoltaic panels fairly soon, but we're still in atmosphere right now, so we're not quite ready to do that yet. And we'll be staging this fairly shortly as well. This apoapsis, I think I'll target around 250. I said that previously and we ended up at 300, so it doesn't really matter. We'll see where we put it. So we're about to have our primary stage here go away. And actually, that's over 250 right there. I like it. Okay, so we'll just do this for now, and that seems fine. We're in space, so let's go ahead and extend our solar panel and our antenna here. I'm wondering about clipping. Hopefully that's fine. Well, it shouldn't actually matter. It should not actually matter. So we'll extend this solar panel out. We need to make sure to start our water purifier here, start our carbon extractor, and then this is a food container, and this is also a food container. Okay, cool. So that looks good for the moment. Now we need to get this thing up into a proper orbit, so that's going to be right about here. And we'll just circularize that. Excellent. We don't need to rendezvous these right now, so there's no reason to do so. So about 300 meters per second, that'll be fine. We'll just get aligned here, and then we'll get both of these into an exfiltration orbit. That is not a term. I just made that up. It sounded cool, but that's not how words work. So, exfiltration orbit definitely does sound cool, though. I'm not going to lie. So we've got 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay. So this is going to be about another 40 seconds on this burn to put us up into proper orbit. There we go. And then the question is, how are we going to do on our actual encounter? So this is fine for now. Now what we need to do is we need to hop over to our other vehicle. So I'm going to switch to the other flyby craft. These are both named the same thing, which is, mildly awkward. But the fact that there's only 2 of them should mean that we're able to determine which is which, in theory. So let's go ahead and extend this antenna. We can move this antenna if we feel like it's going to be a problem. We have an engineer. I don't know. That may or may not be a problem. I may want to move that. But it's okay for now. So what we want to do is we want to start up a burn to escape the velocity of Kerbal, and I don't really care how. We just want to get out a little bit. Just barely escaping for now. That'll do. So that looks good. We're going to align to that node. There we go. Let's rotate this right on over. And this is going to burn up almost the entirety of this tank, which is what that tank is intended for. So that's absolutely fine. And then we can just come back with whichever vehicle actually is has the higher DV. That'll be interesting. We were supposed to start this burn a minute ago, so we should probably delay this a little bit. Let's move this out to be more like here. And let's check to see what that's looking like for the resulting orbit. It should be about the same. Yeah, that's not any particularly big deal. So let's warp on forward. It just took us longer to get oriented for that burn. It's okay. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay. Physics warping it, and let's get out of here. We're going to go out at kind of different directions, and that's completely okay. These are not going to have remotely similar orbits, in theory. Emphasis on in theory. So 300 meters per second. 200. 100 meters per second to go. Coming out of physics warp. And we've got about 5 seconds of burn time remaining here. 2, 1, and engine shutdown. This is good enough, right? Yes, this is good enough. So that looks fine. Next, we're going to want to hop over to this vehicle. So switch over to that real quick. And we want to do basically the same thing. We're going to be following along. So we're going to do this burn sometime around here, probably. They're not going to be identical burns, and that's completely and totally okay. We don't care. So let's bring this guy back a bit. We had a more efficient ascent than the drone ship, it would appear, because I'm just looking at the DV available here. That's fine. It does not matter. So we're going to put ourselves to the node. That's going to be in 1 minute and 20 seconds. So let's wiggle our way over there in physics warp, and let's see how long it takes us to get there. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Okay, we've got another 30 seconds. So 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. We're out of here. So physics warp our way through this burn. It's going to be about another 2-minute burn, so that's absolutely fine. It'll burn out most of the fuel in this tank, but not quite all. A little less than the previous one. So we're doing better on fuel here, but we'll see how it ends up looking. And how bad our transfer window is. That'll be interesting too. I don't even bother looking at it usually, so that'll be fascinating. 10 seconds left on this burn. Let's come out of the physics warp, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is probably good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. Actually, no, it's not. We need to push that out a little further. There we go. So that is now good, and if we set Eve as our target, we can see our ascending node is here for this vehicle. So that's actually not a bad ascending node for us. That's not terribly far in the future. So we can just do a burn right about, that's the wrong direction, right about here. There we go. That'll get us in plane, and that's going to be 335 meters per second. We can start to align to that, but that's going to be in 108 days. So let's hop over to our other vehicle and see how that one's doing. So if we hop over here, will get loaded in. And the question is, which one of these is going to arrive at the ascending node first? In theory, that's inauspicious. We'll check on that in a moment. But it looks like the other vehicle is not in escape trajectory now. We might have to put a little bit more fuel into that. So the ascending node is up here. This is going to be about 2 hours before the other. Okay. So that's good to know. And we'll just position ourselves right about there. Looks good, but we should definitely see what's going on with this vehicle. So if we switch over here, let's see if this is actually in escape velocity. That may have been a rounding issue or something along those lines. Switch to orbital prograde, and yeah, so we are actually in escape velocity here, I think. The other vehicle is now showing us not being in escape velocity. Okay. So that's a little awkward. I'm going to push this out a little bit more so that hopefully that rounding issue is no longer a thing, and then we can redo this once we get up here. So this is now going to be still about the same timing. And it'll be something about like that. So we'll just have that be set up, and now let's hop back to the other vehicle and see if that extra speed... Oh, I just changed our target. Unset that target. Switch to. Let's see if that extra speed makes it so that it's now showing both of these as being as escape velocity, because we kind of need that. This is not showing as escape velocity. Okay, well, let's go ahead and warp up to about here. This one should escape first. In theory. So let's warp now to about here. So this should be in escape velocity, and then I think we might just have to switch over here. And then switch back once they're both escaped. It's going to be mildly awkward, for sure. But this one should be the one that escapes first. Even if it's only by like a minute or two. This is no longer showing up as being in orbit. So maybe it escaped. That's interesting. Well, let's get out of here for now, and then let's hop over to the other craft. As soon as we're zoned into the sphere of influence of the sun, which we are now, let's hop over to the other vehicle, which shows up very faintly over here. Maybe we can get it to show up. Okay, there we go. So I want to... This is definitely in the sphere of influence of the sun. Okay, so that looks good. This burn should be the first one. So let's go ahead and align to that node. And I want to set Eve as target. Thank you very much. There we go. We've got 2 meters per second left in this. Hilarious. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to warp on forward, and this is going to be our inclination change here. So you can see this is definitely a bit behind us. They're in slightly different orbits, which we are absolutely fine with. That's not a problem. So we're going to commence this burn, and then we're going to have to switch over here and do this burn. So this is going to be about a 40-second burn. We'll warp forward a little bit here, and we're going to have barely any speed coming out of this stage at first here. So that's definitely going to be exciting. 2, 1, 0, mark. There we go. So that's absolutely fine. Now we've got about 40 seconds here. And then we'll have to switch over to the other vehicle. Okay, overshot it a little bit. How's that looking? 0.0, good enough. So now we're going to switch to this craft, because we need to do our next inclination change. And then we can shop for an encounter. But let's get this aligned to the node, or aligning to the node, as we take a look here at what we've got going on. So yeah, this is going to be the inclination change here. And we need to set Eve as our target. Ascending node of 0.0 looks good. Let's get that aligned, and this will be happening in 1 day, 1 hour. So these are definitely in a little bit different of timings, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. We'll warp on forward to that, and then we can start up our inclination change here. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, let's get that physics warped as well. We're about to run out of fuel here. We definitely had a little bit more fuel in here, but both should be fine. There we go. And we're going to be going for probably a relatively... I don't think it matters how low of an orbit we go for here. It's going to be about the same amount of DV either way. It's just when we burn the DV, right? So that's absolutely fine. So let's get this burn completed. 2, 1, and that's probably good enough. There we go. That's definitely good enough. And now we're in plane. So the question is, if we were to burn sometime around here, would that get us an encounter? No. This is pretty bad timing, all things considered, which isn't surprising necessarily. However, that's pretty good out over there. So that's absolutely fine. We can go for something like that, but that'll be something for next episode. We can dial that in and get our 2 crafts headed over to Eve. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.